Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to another episode of the Chelsea Fan TV preview show, the CFTV preview show, with myself and also with Kev. Good to have you on, Kev. It's a late one tonight. We're recording on a Tuesday evening. This video will also go up on a Tuesday evening, very late. So if you are tuning in to watch, thank you very much. But yeah, a lot to talk about. Obviously, coming off of 3 points against Brighton with a very unconvincing 3-2 win. I'd love to know if you can take as many positives as some people, Kev, or if you're a little bit more pessimistic, like I am at the moment.
Mm,
And then also, we're
mm.
going to go into the Man United game as well. Talk about our thoughts going into that. But I mean, first of all, Kev, how are you and how are you feeling about Chelsea?
Uh, Feeling okay. It's like you said, Tuesday evening. I got up at 4:30 this morning, and I've come home, cooked, cleaned, and now recording for the love of Chelsea. But yeah, thoughts on Chelsea. We got the win, uh, which we had to win. And like I said on the last preview show, it's consistency now. We've got a massive opportunity to be one of our biggest rivals on Wednesday. They're playing very poor at the moment. There's no excuses why we can't go there and get the 3 points. I don't want to be leaving Old Trafford um, on a cold Wednesday night, knowing that we could have won. We need to win, and we need to set the momentum into Sunday. Potentially, we could have 3 wins this week, and we haven't had 3 wins in a week in as long as I can remember. So the standards have dropped, but we can change around this week. Win these 3 games this week. We've got a nice easy game against Sheffield on the following Saturday. Potentially we could be on 4 wins, and it looks good. It looks good going into that Christmas period where there's easy games. I think the hardest game we've got is probably Wolves away, which can win that as well. So this is our time now to find our fine form. A few players are coming into the south. Mudryk had a good performance against Brighton. I think he'll start again against United. There's a chance for him to have a good game as well. So feeling a bit positive, but not getting carried away. This is the same Kevin that's been speaking for the last 2 months. We're getting our hopes carried away every week because we have a win and then we'll end up losing. I just want us to go and do what we need to do and get the win. That's it. That's all we need to do.
Yeah, man. Do you feel like we made the right steps against Brighton? Because a lot of people have been critical about us when we've played good football, but still not been able to pick up results. Um, and then obviously we've come out of this game playing not great football, but we got the win, and it doesn't matter how you get the win, you
Yeah.
got it. So that's a nice base to then build on better results. I mean, do you think that it matters how we play, or just that we pick up points?
To be truthfully honest, when in comparison to last year, we are playing a lot better than last year. But
100%.
but we're still in the same position, more or less in the same position. We're still in 10th place. So it goes to show sometimes it's not about how good you play, it's about grinding the results out. And Man United over the last few weeks, just typically talk about them because we've got them next. They won 3 on the bounce and they didn't even play well. So we need to do the same thing. We need to just get the W's on the board. I don't care how we do it. It could be ugly, scrappy win. We just need to pick up the points because, okay, probably a bit of a long shot, but top 4 isn't that far away. It's still early days. We're still in December. If we get 3, 4 wins in the bounce, you never know where we could be come January. So I just want us to get scrappy wins. I just wanted to grind us up. A bit like against Brighton. Okay, we went down to 10 men for 60 minutes, but we still grind it out. We got that penalty, we grinded it out, we defended pretty well. That's what we want to see. It's not about sometimes playing the pretty attractive football. Like, okay, everybody wants to see it, but us as Chelsea fans now, we're not bothered. We just want the win. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that. We just want the win.
Yeah, no, I agree with you with the points side of it, but I think that we need to see better than what we saw against Brighton to get anything out of any of these games. But I mean, it is positive knowing that we went down to 10 men. Obviously, we played the whole second half with 10 men because of the stupid challenge from Gallagher, which I didn't realize was as bad as it was. But watching it again, just stupid. I don't understand why he did it. And for some reason, there seems to be a lot of praise for the fact that he's the most carded player in the league. Uh,
Wow.
if you're looking at being aggressive and you want to be an aggressive team, that's absolutely fine. But it's got to be controlled aggression. And I released a video earlier today, basically having a rant about the officials and
Mm,
VAR. And I think that the Premier League right now, Kev, I think it's in the worst place it's ever been from a refereeing standpoint. So what that tells you as well is if the refereeing's an absolute shambles, you could do an okay challenge, but if you're just on the line, they'll still send you off for it. So it's not a case of even aggression. I mean, Lewis talks about controlled aggression. What the hell is controlled aggression, Kev? I mean, you're either aggressive or you're not. That's the way I see it. Okay. And last season we weren't, and this season we are. So completely agree when you talk about, the fact that we're playing better football. I think the football we play is a million times better than last year because we can
mm,
still go a goal down and keep our heads up now, which is a
yeah.
really great thing. I mean, people take the piss out of us because we are still mid-table, Kev, but this
Yeah.
team in a short space of time has made leaps compared to where we were last season, where we just digressed fully, from where we were winning the European Cup. Mate, we couldn't even beat half of the Premier League teams in the top table. So I
Wow.
think that we need to give these boys a little bit more patience, but I'm definitely seeing the right things.
Yeah.
But then you look at Man United as well, Kev, and I'm a massive fan of Eric Ten Hag. I think that if there was one mistake we made when Bowley came in, it was the fact that we moved for Potter instead of Ten Hag. I think that Ten Hag is probably, for me, he's top three managers in the Prem. He's up there with Klopp and Guardiola. And I think that the job that he did last year at United is nobody talks about it. He won a cup and he got to a cup final, finished Champions League places with United. That's a fantastic achievement in your first season, considering the issues that he had with Ronaldo. The way he handled that for me was quite good. And then, he's just transforming the squad. Now, they have spent a lot of money on some stupid players like Anthony and had a lot of issues in that sense. But it's a similar one to us. I think that we have massive challenges as a squad. The fact that we're too young, but Man United lack the hunger and the desire that we have. So I think it's actually a really good matchup because we really want it. But United edge on quality, if you ask me. I mean, how do you feel about it?
Hmm. I don't think they do, to be honest. I just think they've got a bit more experience than us. They've got a bit more leadership. You got your Bruno Fernandes, you got your Rafa Varans, Casemiro's. You've got players that have been there, done it. In regards to quality, I don't think that they're that far ahead of us, really. The last few games I've seen them play, they haven't been good at all. I think against Newcastle, they were lucky to come away with a 1-0 loss. Against Galatasaray, I watched the game as well. The goalkeeper had a massive stinker. He gave away two absolutely diabolical goals. So they're there for the taking. Ten Hag, brilliant manager, but we're hearing a lot of stuff coming out in the press that he's lost half the change room, which is understandable. When you've
Well,
dropped
yeah.
Sancho, the way he's been dropped is a tad too harsh. You've got Matic coming out as well. I've seen some stuff today. Matic exposing the some of the young lads in the team, saying that they always turn up late to training. So there's some discipline issues there. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes at Man at the moment. And one thing that struck me as well, Marcus Rashford against Newcastle doesn't look happy whatsoever. He looks like he wants to be gone. For someone who's on 350 grand a week and you're walking around with your head like that, it looks a bit like how can I say, a bit like how Kovacic looked like towards the end of the season, just a bit like he doesn't want to be there. So there is massive problems. Ten Hag is probably the best manager to deal with it because he doesn't take any crap. But at the same time, yeah, we're both probably in a similar kind of. level at the moment. But we've got rid of a lot of players that was causing us problems. Whereas Man United has still yet to get rid of some, i.e., Sancho and Casemiro, who have asked to go. So yeah, it's one of them ones. A bit strange for both clubs at the moment.
It's a weird one, man. I mean, when I talk about quality as well, don't get it twisted, Kev. There's some players from our team that will get into that would get into their team. I know that, but I think just on like a numbers point of view, uh, generally speaking, they've got players in their team who have struck 25 goals in the season. We have one player that's done that with Sterling. I just think from that sense, and maybe experience is the right word as well. That they've obviously been around a lot longer than us. And when we allude to Marcus Rashford, he's 26. He's one of the leading characters in that dressing room now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, Kev. For me, I think football's a game of sometimes you just got to read the situation when predicting games, when looking at games. And people think I'm weird for saying this. I think Man United will beat us, mate. And I'm not being negative when I say that. I'm not being silly. We haven't beaten them at Old Trafford since
And yes,
2013. 2013, Kev.
10 years.
10 years. It's a long time.
One matter was still playing for us. Will we beat them?
That's I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, Old Trafford's a tough place to go. I've been there when we lost 4-0 under Lampard. I was there last season when we lost 4-1. I was there before when I think we got a draw. I think it was a
I
1-1.
I 1-1 draw. I went to that one. I think Lukaku scored, and I think Marcos Alonso scored an equaliser, and that got us in the Champions League. I think that
Something
was
like that.
about 4 years ago it was. Yeah, I went
Yeah.
to that one. Yeah,
Um,
difficult place to go to, but they are a bogey team for us. It's one of them places where I think if we get a win Wednesday, I'm in agreement with you. I did say on the blue balls, I did say Fats said we'd win. Lewis said we'd win, and Charlie said we'd win. I was in the disagreement. I said we'll lose. I think it potentially be 2-1. I think they might have a tiny bit too much for us, and it's just the fact that we haven't gone there and won in 10 years. So that's going to be playing in the back of our minds. But on the positive side, if we did go and get a win, maybe things will change around for us now. But it's a high possibility that it can happen. They're not playing well at the moment. They just don't seem like they're happy. The morale of the team don't seem like they're happy. So if this is the chance for us to go and get the 3 points Wednesday, is the day really. They're there for the taking.
I really hope I'm wrong, Kev. Like,
Yeah.
I am so positive, mate. And people, when I'm negative, right? Because I think there's good reason to be negative. And at the beginning of the season, I said it myself, Champions League places, that's what I predicted us finishing. I'm going to hold on to that until January because you
Yeah.
never know, Kev. We might go on a run. We've started off, we're unbeaten so far in December. Um, but for
Yeah.
me, when I talk about looking at the perspective as well, it's not just the fact that we haven't won in 10 years. That's actually the last thing I'm looking at. I'm just looking at United's situation. And it's very similar to Everton. People have talked about this Everton game we've got coming up this week as well. And Everton have to win, mate. Like, this is every game Everton play, even if they win, they're still fucked. So, your back is against the wall in a different way at Everton right now with Sean Dyche and that whole situation. Man United, that situation's quite similar, Kev, if I'm being honest with you. You're telling
Yeah.
me if they lose that game, I think there's a high probability that Ten Hag is under at risk of getting sacked, which I don't think
Yes.
he deserves. Just to be clear, I don't think he
Yeah.
deserves it whatsoever. I think Ten Hag is the best thing that's happened to Man United in a long, long time. And God forbid he ever came to Chelsea at some point. I'll be very privileged to have him because the way he manages the team is exactly what they needed. And they've got it,
Yeah.
and they're still messing it up. And
Uh,
oh, mate,
player
oh,
power. It's player power. The
it's
same players
ridiculous.
that have the same players that threw Joel San Marino under the bus, the same players that threw Oli Goddess Ultra under the bus, the same players that threw Louis Van Gaal under the bus, similar players in and around that change room, the Rashfords and all the players. It's player power, and you can see, obviously, Jay and Sancho, disciplinary issues. He got the kick. Other players are jumping on his side and saying, you know what, you've done that to my friend, and they're not happy about it, which is understandable. But
Is it
you
though
do need that.
in a
No, no,
professional environment?
you do need your managers to be. You do need your managers to set the bar. At the end of the day, if there's no discipline, if Ten Hag had never done anything about that situation, other players could have been doing the same thing. And look at Ronaldo. Ronaldo came out with that interview with Piers Morgan. What happened to him? Gone. Sancho's come out and done a similar thing. Gone. And it's good on Ten Hag, but sometimes it can backfire, and that's what we're seeing now. It's well documented in the disciplinary side, like okay, Nemanja Matic coming out saying there's disciplinary. There's a lot more. There's a lot more than what we're seeing right now in Man United, and you know, it's up to us now to capitalise on it and hope we can go Wednesday and get that win. Because whatever happens at Man United, we don't care. We just want to go there and win, and that's it.
Yeah, man. I think we're more than capable of it, Kev. It's just circumstances for me. I just
Yeah,
think their back is against the wall, mate.
yeah,
For me, I'm looking at United, and I'm just saying, if I was in United shoes, if I was a United fan, and they lost to us, I'd be fuming, mate. I would be fuming. Whereas for us, honestly, I think it's acceptable to lose that game. I think it's actually understandable, and that's not setting the bar low. You know, United are still a very dangerous team, mate. Like we talk about the Galatasaray game, for example. The only reason they lost that was because of their keeper. The rest of
yeah.
the team, if they do that, that's a 3-0 win in the Champions League, right?
3-1.
That's no excuse for the fact that they drop points, but that's the situation. But I mean, just coming into it, Kev. I mean, are there any players from United that you actually think are going to cause issues? Because Pochettino seems to be wary of Rashford and Garnacho, you know, on the counter attack with their pace. I mean, if that's the case, then you would presume that, well, we'd be man marking, or, well, we know we're going to play possession based football. I mean, that's obvious. We never go and park the bus. But I mean, how do you approach this game dealing with the threats that United have, and obviously trying to capitalise ourselves?
I think we're lucky. We're lucky that we haven't got Colwell and Disarcy going into this game as our wing backs. So that's one massive boost having Cucurella and James back for this game. Because I think Disarcy, he'll be getting caught out all the time. I think if you get a Rashford on that side there, Disarcy is not a right back, and it was evident to see against Brighton that he's not a right back. But he's done a good job. I think Cucurella will give us more solidity on that left side as well. So potentially Garnacho, he'll do a good job on him. So I think them two will play a massive part in this game. Bruno Fernandes, he's the man for him. He's the key man. I think if Caicedo can get close to him and not give him time to dictate the play, that's a good thing because he's still a dangerous player. You can see every game he wants to do his best and he's got a good attitude. That's why he's the captain. Who else really? There's that Holbier, Haaland,
Ireland,
Rasmus
yeah.
Haaland. Yeah, he hasn't scored a goal in the Premier this season, but he's still the top goal scorer in the Champions League. So that's a weird stat in itself. But I don't see anything at all what can threaten us really. Apart from that, I don't want to jinx myself on it. But against Newcastle, I watched the whole game and this looks a bit deflated. It's a bit. What can I say? It's a bit like how we played last year. The passing's just a bit slow, lethargic. When the ball comes at the back, Maguire's always passing it to the side. He invites a lot of pressure. So if we can just raise our energy levels and get onto him very quickly, don't give Maguire time on the ball. So if Jackson can have a good game and let's get onto Maguire every time he gets the ball, yeah, to shake him up a bit because we all know Maguire's got a mistake in him. I think there's chances for us in this game. So if we could take our chances, we've got a massive chance. But their main threat's going to come from Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho. But the team a bit deflated at the minute. I think personally we've got a massive chance of winning it. It just depends how much we want it if when we take our chances.
We haven't even spoken about Onana yet.
Oh wow.
Onana, mate, he's been shocking. And Ten Hag's come out and said that if you look at the numbers, he's the second best goalkeeper in the league. And I'm like, okay, but I mean, it's not just
Numbers
about the
don't
Premier League.
numbers don't mean anything. Everyone throws stats and this and that. You got to look at the picture. You look on that TV and you see the mistakes he's made. This I seen on Instagram. There's a post of his mistakes this year. From his first game, he got lobbed from the halfway line, and it's been mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. So if we're starting Cole Palmer in that camp, which I think you will do, I'm telling the lads just to shoot on sight. That's it. Just shoot. And if you get in a position to cross, just cross. Get the ball in the mix and capitalize on it and on the weakness. Because I think there was a couple of times against Newcastle where I think it was Dallo picked the ball out of play, didn't even want to pass it back to him. So clearly, the defense have lost confidence in him. So we've got to go there and shake the defense up, shake them up, shake the keeper up from the early doors and set the tone. Because I believe there's going to be chances and there's going to be a mistake in Onana in this game.
Yeah, it looks like it was a bit of a mistake getting rid of De Gea. I get why Ten Hag did it, but you've got a good thing. Don't mess it up. De Gea's always had a mistake in him as well, but he made the save.
But not as bad as what we're witnessing with Onana. Like he's been diabolical in it. But yeah, I just think the more we get the ball into the box, the more shots we take, is the more opportunities we'll get to get a goal. Because, like I said, he's not been the best, and we need to capitalize in it 100%.
Do you think Man United would take Sanchez over Onana right now?
Sanchez hasn't been the best, but Sanchez hasn't been the best so far from what I've seen. But he's been a lot better than Onana. He had a really good performance against Brighton, pulled off a couple of good stops. Very commanding. His distribution's been good. I think he's getting he's getting better each week, and that's what we spoke about. I think it was 4 or 5 weeks ago we spoke. We said he needs to start performing, and I think he has proved the critics wrong. He's growing into a tiny bit. Is he a world class keeper? No, he's not. I think we've been linked with the AC Milan keeper. I think if we can go and get a world class keeper, it will do us justice. But end of the day, Sanchez, he's got better. He's still got a mistake in him, but nothing as bad as what we've seen with Onana. Nothing close.
What about Mason Mount? I mean, he's been shy since he's gone to United.
Oh, wow.
He has been
Mason who? Mason who? That's all I got to say. Wow. But yeah, apparently he's back in training. I don't know if we'll see him, but the discussion we had in Lewis last night again. I said the question I asked was, would the fans boo him? I think he's going to get some stick.
I would boo him till my last breath, Kev. The man is a traitor. He's a disgrace. The thing is, Kev, it's not just the fact that he left.
He did get pushed out in a sense. There is a story.
No,
There is a story behind it.
He pushed himself out with stupid, unrealistic wage demands. 200 grand a week. You think that is worth 200 grand a week? I don't even think he's got an assist this season, Kev. Let alone a goal or anything like that.
Nothing.
He's done nothing, mate. You're telling me that
his confidence. His confidence is shattered, though. He can play to see. He's brilliant. The guy is not the same. He's not the same guy.
His own fault, Kev. We never forced him out. I really will have this debate with anyone, because if you're making wage demands like that, Kev, if he was in form, we're having a different discussion. Last season he was rubbish. How are you making demands like that when you're?
I've heard a story. I've heard a story. Yeah, from someone. I've heard a story from someone very close, and I'm just going to break it. Basically, what happened is, so Reece James got a contract. Chelsea Football Club was meant to email the contract to Reece James. What happened is they emailed it to Mason Mount on accident. So obviously, when Mason Mount opened it up, it's in the contract, £280,000 a week. Pulled it back, said, "Oh, sorry, emailed to the wrong person. So then they've come back and offered him 120k. So would you be a bit pissed off knowing that your mate that you grew up with, you've come all through the ranks with, you've won Champions Leagues with, is getting offered twice as much money as you, and then they give you something, then pull it back? You would be a tad pissed off, wouldn't you, about it?
Well,
I
that's
don't know if
just
I don't know if the story's true, but there's something what went on. There's something what went on for him to decline as much as he did. And maybe the story's true, who knows? But I don't think Mason Mount would have left if there's something that never gone on behind the scenes, if you know what I mean. He was Chelsea through and through. There's got to be
no, it
something
wasn't
that
that.
we
It
don't.
clearly wasn't, Kev, because he doesn't miss Chelsea. There's a lot of sources saying that he literally, there's no feelings towards Chelsea. When he signed for Man United, him and his dad said, "It's good to be home. We're back. We're home. This is where we're meant to be." It's a disgrace, mate. And also, if your story is correct, by the way, that is so poor from the Chelsea hierarchy. But I actually think it was a massive blessing in disguise, because you know what they say. Sometimes when you fuck something up, you mess it up, you think, "Oh my god, the whole world's falling down." But actually, it can be a blessing. And I think that that's probably the case with Mount. And from a financial perspective as well, with how much we spent to get 60 odd million of pure
65 million, yeah,
profit, I mean,
65 million.
yeah, you're not going to say no to that. I mean, I thought selling Havertz was the best business we did, but Havertz wasn't homegrown. So when you look at it
Yeah,
financially, selling Mason Mount was the best piece of business we could have done.
yeah.
And we sold him to a very average team, and he's made them even more average, which makes me nothing less than happy, Kev. I mean,
But and I just think I had that much love for Mason Mount. I actually Mason Mount was my favourite player, and I think when we look at the way we're playing now, I think a Mason Mount would have been brilliant in this team we've got now. I can't just throw dirt on his, even though he's gone to Scum, I still can't just throw dirt on his name. And I think, yeah, everyone else is going to boo him. I won't boo him because I think it's just not deserved. But it is what it is. He's gone to United. He's doing shit there, which is good for us. And he just, it's one of them things. What can we say? It's just a hard one. But if he does play tomorrow, hopefully he comes up with the performances he has done this season, because he has been nowhere near it, hasn't he? He's been poor, really poor.
what's your prediction going into the game then, Kev? Are you the same as me with a loss?
I said I'll stick to it. I never change. I said 2-1 United. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that, and hopefully we win. I'm saying we're going to lose because I'm just being real. But hopefully we can. In my head, I'm thinking, you know what? If we do turn up and we energetic, we get Maguire on the back foot, we test Onana, put him on the back foot, get crosses in, and we're just resilient in the way we want to press against them. I thought we can get the points. But who knows what Chelsea's going to turn up? Who knows what Chelsea's going to turn up? So I have to just play it safe and say 2-1 Man United.
Fair enough, mate. Well, I'm inclined to agree with you, Kev, although I don't have a score prediction. I just don't think we'll win. But actually, if we got a draw out of that game, I don't think that's a terrible result. But I think lots of Chelsea fans are still expecting a win. I mean, if this was anyone else, I would be expecting a win. But I just think, the circumstances on their end make it really difficult. But listen, guys, if you agree or disagree with anything myself or Kev has said throughout the video, leave a comment, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Listen, anything can happen against United, but hopefully we're both wrong. I mean, I know we've been a little bit negative, but we want to win, and we're definitely more than capable of it. So we'll see how it turns out. But thank you guys for watching. All the best, and we will see you very, very soon.